So, and we can start with Amanda from DSI on this. You've got employees across the globe, like you had mentioned. Could you elaborate a little on how you're using SuitePeople to track and those employees and what that means to your organization?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest piece with NetSuite right now with our global employees is the time off,
okay.
But also the org browser. I'd like to mention that. The time off plans, as I mentioned earlier, they're all set up specifically for each country, and we're in the UK, we're in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Canada, and Australia, as well as the US, and then we have California employees, which all carry over time based on the laws in California. And so being able to use NetSuite to track all of that accurately is huge,
sure.
Huge. And it's great for the employees because they can go in and see their balances and see where they're at as well. The org browser piece of HCM has also been fabulous. DSI, we never publicized our org charts, so we did not hand out org charts or we did not distribute those to our employees. But with NetSuite and HCM, we're now able to, our employees are able to see who reports to who and what organization, what department a person may be in. We've got people all over the globe, so they don't always know who's new and who's coming, you know, to different countries or to the US and starting. And so having the org browser in the HCM module has been great for them. It's easy for them, we have pictures, so it's easy for them to kind of put their eyes on the folks if they have not met them in person. And so that's been a great thing, and our employees have found that to be very useful. The other great thing about the org browser is as we make changes within our organizational structure, those changes, once they're made in NetSuite, are automatically and immediately updated with org browser. So what we were doing previously using Org Plus is a manual system. So anytime a change came through, whether it was a title change, department change, reporting structure change, we would have to manually go to Org Plus and make that update. And unfortunately, I was the only one doing that, so if I was tied up with other HR functions, it might be a day or two or maybe a week before I could update that. With NetSuite, it's an immediate change. As soon as we make that change in the program in NetSuite, in the HR record, it's immediately updated in the org browser. So the entire, anybody who wants to find somebody can know that, okay, Joe used to report to Bob, but now he's reporting to Mike. And that's been a great benefit.
Great. And Julie, did you want to elaborate from an HR administration standpoint what SuitePeople has meant to Greenberg so far?
Yes, I'd say we've had a very similar positive experience just in the efficiency of making a change in one place that then filters to a number of different sources. So layering on to the org chart, it also updates the directory as well. And that used to be owned by our head of IT, and I would have to send him an email and update this, and just as we're all busy, it's too many items to remember to do, versus now we can just make one change in NetSuite and it feeds all of these different sources, and it's very convenient.
Fantastic. And Patrick, for Fisher Unitech.
So Fisher was actually very similar to DSI in where we were using Visio for our org chart, and I was the only one to do it. So again, if whether people were coming on or leaving, if I wasn't very timely and someone needed an org chart, so I would have to update that each time. So that has been very helpful in the system because our staff is about 200 employees across 16 offices. So we have some very small offices. And just it really kind of bridges that gap of the geography between the offices. And what we do with the org browser is we use pictures also, but we allow people to put whatever they want. So it's also a culture item for us. So some people have themselves, some people have themselves, maybe rock climbing, or even a favorite movie character. So we've kind of integrated it culturally on that end. So it's gone really well, and it's actually kind of improved our communication style.
Perfect. Why don't we have a look?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you both the HR administration side of things, how you manage that employee record as you talked about, and then we'll a little bit later jump into the org chart. So let's start with that. There you go. So back into the HR dashboard here, logged in as Penny, our HR director, and she can see her KPIs and reminders being displayed on the dashboard. One of the very important things is being able to track your key HR processes, your turnovers, your hires, your any requisitions that you may have open at any given point in time, or any employee separations that are coming up, or new hires that are supposed to join. So that's all of that information can be easily brought to this dashboard. You also have access to your your HR master data, including things like your job catalog, which is something that our customers are able to define and use it to define and standardize all of their jobs across the organization. You can see the job ID, the job title, some basic information, but you can also define additional elements about a job in a company, such as their job description or the responsibilities, or see who are the employees assigned to those jobs, or initiate job requisitions directly from that job record. So you can now use NetSuite to define all of that out of the box standard functionality. And if you've already cataloged your job, and if you need to create a new one, for example, that's also very easy. In this case, I'm creating a new job for Scrum Master, which I will later on assign to an employee and show you how that is done. Let's do the title. It's a full-time job, a description, and we can save. I'm going to jump in from here into the employee record and look for Emily, who is the employee that we were looking at earlier from a time-off management perspective. On this global employee record, you can see their basic information, their address, location, department, subsidiary assignment, how they fit in the organization. A very comprehensive human resource set of tabs and information, including their jobs. We just saw in this case, she is a software engineer, her subordinates, if there are any, supervisor history, work status, education, and so on and so forth. You can also look at the time of plan that is assigned to this employee, all of their balances and stuff for HR, government ID tracking or anything you need to track from a compliance perspective, time tracking or your timesheets for that employee, how they have been submitted, payroll details including earnings, taxes, and deductions for the US, as well as their compensation details. So you can define all of that in the basic in this comprehensive employee record. All the basic information is available there. It also supports the concept of effective dating, which means you can view or edit any employee record at a point in time. So in this case, you can make historical changes or future dated changes and pre-plan them. I'm going to go ahead and select June 1st as our date and make a change to that employee record and propose Emily for a promotion that will take into effect on the 1st of June. You can select your change reasons, record that change, pre-plan it, as I said earlier. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and give her a promotion from software engineer to her new job will be the Scrum Master, which we earlier created, which you saw me create earlier. And we're also going to go ahead and give her a pay raise. So we'll give her a salary increase from $60,000 to $65,000, review the change, and submit that for approval, so that once it goes through approval on June 1st, it will automatically become active in the system. You can also view the log, so you can see all of the changes on the employee that have taken place on any of the fields. In this case, let's zoom in into the job title, and you can see how that has changed. And this is what our panel was talking about earlier as well, that once you make a change, it will reflect right away on your org chart. But in this case, if it's a future dated change on that date, it will show up in your browser. So current changes, historical changes or corrections, and future dated changes, all of them are supported through the org browser, through our new employee record.
And I think it's important to note as well, if you've got a manager change, that will all be updated from an org chart standpoint, and that helps from a data entry. That's exactly what you were speaking to. Great. So that helped with the foundational piece of kind of how the org browser is built and structured.